Welcome to Wrestling Impact, your home for all things wrestling. Please subscribe and click the bell button if you are new to my channel. What if I told you that the most dangerous man in WWE just got handed a contract that could shatter everything we thought we knew about brand loyalty? What if the signature on that dotted line didn't just change one man's career, but fundamentally altered the entire landscape of Friday Night Smackdown? Ladies and gentlemen, wrestling fans across the globe, what you're about to hear isn't just another contract signing. This is the moment Nick Aldis pulled off what might be the most calculated, most devastating recruitment in SmackDown history. This is the story of how Oba Femi, the unbreakable force of NXT, came face to face with an offer that could reshape the main roster forever. But before we dive into the chaos, the drama, and the absolute pandemonium this contract represents, we need to understand exactly who Oba Femi is and why Nick Aldis would risk everything to bring him to the blue brand. Oba Femi isn't just another prospect. He's not another developmental talent hoping for a main roster opportunity. No, Oba Femi is a phenomenon. Standing at 6 feet 4 inches of pure, concentrated power, this man has been an unstoppable force in NXT. We're talking about someone who held the NXT North American Championship for an unprecedented 645 days. 645 days of absolute dominance. That's not a title reign, that's a declaration of superiority. Every single week, Femi walked into the ring knowing that nobody, and I mean nobody, could take that championship from around his waist. The way he dominated opponents wasn't just impressive, it was terrifying. This wasn't a man who scraped by with roll UPS and lucky breaks. Oba Femi dismantled competitors. He broke spirits before he broke bodies. Superstars who stepped up to challenge him didn't just lose, they were forced to reconsider their entire career trajectory. You could see it in their eyes after facing Femi. That look of someone who just realized they weren't on the same level, weren't even playing the same sport. And Nick Aldis saw all of this. The SmackDown general manager, a man who built his own legendary career on intelligence, strategy, and recognizing talent before anyone else, watched every single one of Femi's matches. He studied the brutality, the technical precision, the sheer presence that Oba Femi commanded. And somewhere in that brilliant mind of his, Aldis realized something that nobody else had fully grasped yet. Oba Femi wasn't just the future of WWE. He was the missing piece that SmackDown desperately needed right now. Think about the current state of SmackDown. You've got established names, incredible athletes, legends in the making. But there's been something missing, hasn't there? A certain edge. A genuine threat that makes everyone else on the roster look over their shoulder. Someone who doesn't just compete for championships, but someone whose very presence elevates the stakes of every single segment, every single match, every single moment they're on screen. That's exactly what Nick Aldis was thinking when he made the decision to extend this contract offer. And let me tell you, this wasn't some standard developmental call-up. This wasn't a let's see how they do on the main roster situation. No, Nick Aldis crafted an offer specifically designed to make Oba Femi understand just how valued, how essential, how absolutely critical he would be to SmackDown's future. Now, the moment this happened on SmackDown, you could feel the electricity in the arena. The crowd knew something massive was about to go down. Nick Aldis stepped into that ring with a microphone in one hand and a contract in the other, and the entire WWE Universe held its breath. Because when a general manager personally handles a contract signing, you know it's not just business. It's personal. It's strategic. It's a statement. Aldis began speaking, and you could hear the conviction in his voice. He talked about excellence. He talked about dominance. He talked about what it means to be truly elite in this industry. And then he said the name, Oba Femi. The reaction was instant. Some fans erupted in excitement, knowing exactly what kind of chaos Femi could bring to SmackDown. Others sat in stunned silence, processing the implications of NXT's most dominant champion potentially arriving on the blue brand. But here's where it gets really interesting. Nick Aldis didn't just offer Oba Femi a spot on the roster. He didn't just promise him opportunities. No, Aldis made it abundantly clear that this contract came with guarantees. Top-tier matches. Main event consideration. The kind of platform that would allow Femi to showcase exactly why he's been unstoppable. Aldis essentially told Oba Femi, I'm not asking you to prove yourself. I already know what you are. I'm giving you the stage to show the entire world. And you have to appreciate the psychology behind this move. Nick Aldis is showing every single superstar in that SmackDown locker room that he's willing to go out and recruit the absolute best. He's not waiting for talent to come to him. He's not hoping for lucky breaks. He's actively building a roster that can compete with anything Raw throws at them, anything that emerges from NXT, anything that exists in professional wrestling today. But let's talk about what this means for Oba Femi personally. Imagine being in his position. You've conquered NXT. You've held that North American Championship longer than anyone thought possible. You've beaten everyone they put in front of you. At a certain point, there are no more mountains to climb in developmental. The challenges become repetitive. The competition, while talented, can't push you to that next level because you've already surpassed what NXT can offer. Then Nick Aldis appears with a contract that represents everything you've been working toward. The main roster. The biggest stages. WrestleMania. SummerSlam. Royal Rumble. Survivor Series. These aren't just events, they're career-defining moments. And Aldis is offering Femi the chance to make those moments his own. The expression on Femi's face when this offer was extended, you could see the wheels turning. This is a man who doesn't make impulsive decisions. Everything Oba Femi does is calculated, measured, designed for maximum impact. He looked at that contract like a chess master studying the board, analyzing every possible outcome, every potential consequence. Because Femi knows that accepting this contract doesn't just change his career, it changes Smackdown. The moment he signs, every championship contender has to recalculate their path. Every mid-carder has to wonder if they're ready for this level of competition. Every main eventer has to acknowledge that there's a new apex predator in their territory. And Nick Aldis knows this too. In fact, that's exactly what he wants. Aldis doesn't just want Oba Femi on SmackDown to add another name to the roster. He wants Femi there to create chaos, to force evolution, to make every single superstar raise their game or get left behind. It's survival of the fittest, and Aldis just introduced the fittest. Think about the potential matchups. Oba Femi vs LA Knight. The charisma and grit of Knight against the overwhelming power of Femi. That's not just a match, that's a collision of philosophies. Oba Femi vs Austin Theory. Youth versus youth, but completely different approaches to dominance. Oba Femi vs AJ Styles. The phenomenal one testing his legendary skills against someone who represents the next generation of powerhouses. And we haven't even touched on the championship picture yet. Whether it's the United States Championship, the Intercontinental Championship if we see title exchanges, or eventually, inevitably, the undisputed WWE Championship, Oba Femi's arrival means that every title holder on SmackDown just got a massive target on their back. But here's something even more intriguing. What if this is just the beginning of Nick Aldis's master plan? What if Oba Femi is the first domino? What if Aldis has been quietly recruiting, strategizing, building an entire faction or stable of unstoppable talent? The general manager who isn't content with managing what he has, but actively constructing a dynasty. The backstage reactions to this contract offer have been fascinating. Some SmackDown superstars are reportedly excited, seeing Femi's potential arrival as validation that they're on the most competitive brand in WWE. Others are nervous, understanding that their spot isn't guaranteed when someone of Femi's caliber enters the picture. And a select few, the top guys, the established veterans, they're sharpening their skills because they know that Oba Femi isn't coming to SmackDown to make friends. He's coming to dominate. There's also the NXT perspective to consider. Shawn Michaels has built something special with the developmental brand, and Oba Femi has been a cornerstone of that success. Losing Femi to SmackDown would be a massive blow to NXT's prestige, but it would also open the door for new stars to rise, new champions to emerge, new stories to be told. It's the circle of WWE life. Talent develops, talent ascends, talent creates legacy. And legacy is really what this is all about. Oba Femi has the opportunity to build something unprecedented. If he signs this contract, if he accepts Aldis's offer, he's not just joining SmackDown. He's making a statement that he's ready to be mentioned in the same breath as the all-time greats. He's declaring that his dominance in NXT was just the appetizer, and the main roster is where the real feast begins. The contract itself, from what we understand, includes provisions that protect Femi's character, his presentation, his mystique. Nick Aldis isn't trying to change who Oba Femi is. He's trying to amplify it. Give him a bigger platform, brighter lights, more prestigious opponents. This is a general manager who understands that you don't fix what isn't broken. You just give it a bigger stage. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. What happens if Oba Femi says no? What if he looks at that contract, looks at Nick Aldis, and decides that he's not finished with NXT yet? Well, that would be a power move in itself. It would send a message that Femi can't be rushed, can't be pressured, operates on his own timeline. And honestly, that would make him even more valuable. Scarcity creates demand. If Femi turns this down, the next offer will be even bigger. But I don't think that's what happens here. I think Oba Femi recognizes opportunity when it's presented with this much sincerity, this much genuine belief. Nick Aldis isn't playing games. He's offering Femi the keys to the kingdom. And someone as intelligent, as ambitious, as destined for greatness as Oba Femi doesn't let an opportunity like that slip away. The wrestling world is watching this situation unfold with bated breath. Social media is exploding with speculation. Fans are creating fantasy booking scenarios. Other promotions are probably kicking themselves for not trying to recruit Femi before WWE locked him down. This is one of those rare moments where everyone, from casual viewers to hardcore analysts, agrees that something significant is happening. And that's the beauty of professional wrestling. When it's done right, when the stars align, when the right performer meets the right opportunity at the right time, magic happens. Real, tangible, unforgettable magic. The kind of magic that creates Hall of Fame careers. The kind of magic that produces WrestleMania moments people talk about for decades. Oba Femi's signing with Smackdown wouldn't just be a roster move. It would be the beginning of a new era. The Femi era. Where dominance isn't just expected, it's guaranteed. Where championships aren't goals, they're inevitabilities. Where every Friday night, the WWE Universe tunes in knowing that they might witness something they've never seen before. Nick Aldis understands this. That's why he made the offer personally. That's why he put his reputation on the line. That's why he's willing to guarantee Femi the opportunities that most superstars have to fight for years to earn. Aldis is betting on excellence, and in professional wrestling, that's always the safest bet. As we process everything that this contract offer represents, one thing becomes crystal clear. Whether Oba Femi signs tonight, next week, or at a major premium live event, the result is the same. Smackdown is about to become even more must-see television. The blue brand is about to elevate to a level of competition that makes every other show scramble to keep up. And Oba Femi is about to prove that his NXT dominance was just the prologue to a much larger, much more legendary story. So to everyone watching, to every fan who's been following Oba Femi's incredible journey, to every superstar in that SmackDown locker room preparing for what's coming, and to Nick Aldis himself, who just made the boldest general manager move in recent memory, we say this: buckle up. The landscape just shifted. The game just changed. And Oba Femi's arrival on SmackDown is going to be nothing short of seismic. If you're as hyped as we are about this monumental contract offer, if you can't wait to see Oba Femi destroy everyone on SmackDown, if you appreciate Nick Aldis's genius strategy, show us some love with a like on this video. Drop your predictions in the comments below. Who do you want to see Oba Femi face first on the main roster? What championship should he target? And do you think anyone on SmackDown can actually stop him? Subscribe to Wrestling Impact because we'll be covering every single second of Oba Femi's main roster journey, and trust me, you don't want to miss what happens next. This is Wrestling Impact, and we'll see you in the next one.